Live from Bucart's Liberty Street Restaurant in the downtown Galleria, it's the Paul Hornung Sports Showcase with your host, College and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Paul Hornung. Brought to you by UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business. By the Collins Auto Group, where one name means more. More selection, more value, more service. By Humana, high-quality health care services at affordable prices. By Coors Light, there's no slowing down the silver bullet. By your local Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurant, where every day is a celebration of food. And now, here's Paul.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, and welcome to Liberty Street. We're back here live on Stereo Cable Channel 11. Boy, it was a tough week for the locals. UK just couldn't put any points on the board and dropped a tough football game last week down in Alabama. They got a week off. They're going to play at home, of course, next week against a very, very good Auburn team, so hopefully they can make a good comeback. And I tell you, I don't think I pulled any harder for any team I've ever rooted for than U of L last week. I tell you, outplayed West Virginia for 50 minutes, and of course stubbed their toe literally when Browning-Nagel just gutted it up the last 10 minutes. They couldn't get there, but they're going to be back. And how about Ted Schultz? Let's wish Ted Schultz one of Ted Schultz, of course, former University of Louisville golfer, won his first pro tournament, Southern Open, won about 120,000, jumped into the top 30. This week, I'm really excited. You know, a lot of people have asked me, Paul, what's the most important time of your life in athletics? Well, I want to tell you, if I had to pick 4 years that I would like to stay in the rest of my life, honestly, I'd pick high school. I think high school is the most special time of a young man's life, whether you're an athlete or a student. It's the most important time because I think you grow up more in high school than any other time. And tonight, we got a very special program for you. A preview of the biggest game, not only in the city, not only in the state, but maybe in the South, St. X Trinity. And we've got both the coaches here. They've got some good young football players with them. And we're going to have some fun as we talk about the toughest game in the state of Kentucky. We'll be right back.
I never imagined that a prescription would cost $80.
My insurance keeps going up, and it doesn't even cover prescriptions.
The Humana Gold Plan can cover prescriptions, vision care, and all Medicare-eligible doctors and hospital costs.
There's so much Medicare still doesn't cover.
Chances are the Humana Gold Plan covers it.
It's all so complicated.
No, it's all so easy. Call 1-800-647-0070 now.
For Kentuckiana truck buyers, one name means more: Collins.
Bill Collins Ford and Royal Dodge are your regional truck centers. We've delivered over 20,000 trucks in northern Kentucky and southern Indiana. We understand the special needs of the truck buyer, and we respond with the right truck at the right price. Trucks for work or play. At Collins Ford and Royal Dodge, we give you more of what you want. Lower prices and better service.
One name means more: Collins.
More truck for less money.
Mr. Ian McKenzie. I'm Angus McKenzie. Ian's moved down the road.
Today, with service to 175 countries,
Oh, you've been wanting Ian Alistair McKenzie.
UPS delivers to nearly 4 billion people,
Also for McKenzie. Aye.
including the extraordinary concentration of Mackenzies along the northeast coast of Scotland.
Mr. Ian Alistair McKenzie.
No trouble finding me, did you, lad?
No trouble at all.
UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
We could have been satisfied being the home of the chimichanga. After all, a chimichanga is the Chi-Chi's celebration, all wrapped up in a tortilla. But hearing you say wow wasn't enough, so we created the Cowabunga Chimichanga Special. It's our famous chimichanga, plus cheese, nachos, and sopapillas, all for $6.95. Wow, you say? No, Cowabunga.
Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi, a celebration of food.
If you like to be seen in all the right circles,
It's the right beer now.
if you think there's a certain quality to beer that comes from up here.
Right beer now.
If you believe in letting the good times pour, reach for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Coors Light. Yeah, it's the right beer now. It's the right beer now.
We're back here live at the Liberty Street Restaurant. Welcome. On my immediate right, I want to introduce you to the fine young head coach of the St. X Tigers, Mike Glaser, and he's 8th year as head coach. Let's hear it for Mike. Welcome. First, let's introduce these two young men you got with you, Mike, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit. That's Rico Francis, the great running back. And next to him is Captain Mark Askin, and of course, I think I said he played offense and defense. He's an offensive tackle, a preseason All-American as far as USA is concerned. Let's welcome these two young men to St. X. First of all, Mike, this kind of game, there's an old cliche. You can throw out the records when these two teams meet. This is the biggie.
Well, it really is. You know, I was talking to one of the reporters today. It's a game that these guys have been waiting for a long time. You know, when they were in the 4th, 5th, 6th grade and just starting their football career out, they were looking at St. X and Trinity and trying to decide where they're going to go to school and following this game. And it's a real special game for the young people.
Mm-hmm. Rico, let me ask you, of course, one of the best backs in the state. I want to ask you two things. I want to ask you, what does this game mean to you, and what do you expect tomorrow night against Trinity?
Well, like Coach Slater said, when you're in grade school, it's a game you dream about. You dream about playing Trinity in front of 30,000 people, and this game means everything to me. This is my last year, and I haven't beaten Trinity in the fairgrounds since I've been at St. X. But Trinity's got an excellent defensive ball team, so we got our work cut out for us tomorrow.
Well, Trinity's ranked #1, and you all kind of stubbed your toe last week against Mayo, and I know that, you know, you got everything to gain and nothing to lose in this one, right?
Yes, sir.
How about Big Mark down there? Let me ask you something, Mark. How does it feel playing before 30,000 people out there?
Well, it's pretty nerve-wracking at first, but once you start going, it's just like a regular game, but it means a lot more to us and on the whole team.
Mm-hmm. How has practice been this week? Has Mike been a little tough on you this week?
We've been ready.
You've been ready.
Going at it.
Yeah, you don't have to get them up this week, right, Mike?
No, you don't. You know, they came out Monday ready to play, and they've been real excited, and we've had a good time in practice this week. The kids have really been attentive, and I think they're ready to go. They've really done a good job of preparing themselves mentally. And you know, people say, will there be a letdown, or is there any more pressure because you stubbed your toe last week? Mm-hmm. They've already forgotten about that. Mm-hmm. They're ready to play this one.
You know, when you go back, of course, you were the head coach in '86 when Jeff Houck led that team to the state championship, and I know that's what you would, like to get St. X back to. There's so much competition now in the city. I mean, football has really improved in the last 15 years here in this city and county.
It certainly has. There's so much more equity now. You know, it used to be, when I first started coaching as an assistant at St. X, we won 25 in a row, 2 state championships back to back. But there were 4 or 5 games on that schedule that really, those teams really couldn't compete on our level. Now, you've got to be prepared every week. Anybody that you play, St. X and Trinity both, and all the teams in town, you have to really be ready to play every Friday and Saturday night, or you can be upset.
Do you all exchange any films and take a look at other teams' offenses and defenses?
Right.
And prepare that way?
Yes. Most of it's kind of an agreement, gentleman's agreement, that each week, like Sunday morning, I call Coach Lampley, and we've exchanged all of our films, all of our games from this year. So we've each seen each other 4 times on film. We've each seen each other play in person probably 4 times too.
Is there anything better, Rico, when you break into the clear? I always said the greatest thrill I could ever have is getting across that end zone, and that's the way I felt. And I'm sure that for a running back, you could break one tomorrow night. That would be it, wouldn't it?
I hope so. That is a great feeling when you break out and you score. There's nothing like it. But like I said, Trinity has an excellent defensive ball team. We got our work cut out for us tomorrow night.
Mike, tell us about these 2 young men. A little bit more about them.
Well, they're 2 very fine young men. Both of them have started for us for 2 years. Rico started for 3 years. He started as a defensive back as a sophomore. Probably in college, Rico will probably be a defensive back That's where he's being recruited both as an offensive running back and a defensive back. I think they epitomize a St. X football player. Both these young men have a tremendous work ethic. They've been our leaders in the weight room all summer. We started back in January committing ourselves to this year because we didn't have a real good season last year. And these two young men have done a great job of leading us. And Mark was voted captain by his teammates back in January. And they've just done an outstanding job. I can't say I've ever coached any finer young men than these two.
Well, I tell you, I can give you a pretty good idea of how much it's changed for these two young men. When I played way back, before you all could even think, it was Flagey, St. X, and Male and Manual. Male and Manual, of course, was still one of the great rivalries of all time. But if we had 10,000 people out at the ballpark, that would have been sensational. And you could think where it's come to full circle today when hopefully tomorrow night there's going to be over 25,000 people out there. We want to wish you a lot of luck. And I want to show everybody what everybody goes for. I got a good friend of mine called me this week, Chick Walsh, part of the Hibernians. Now, there's probably some of you in the audience knows what this is. This, of course, is the shillelagh that goes to the winning team. Tomorrow night it'll be presented to either Coach Glacier or Coach Lampley right after this ball game. And, of course, it'll be on display for 1 year at the school who wins the ball game tomorrow night. And this is what it's all about. It's just like the Oaken Bucket up at Ohio State and a few of the other little symbols that go to the winner. But anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to wish you a lot of luck. And Mike, before you go out, what do you got to do tomorrow? What do you got to do to stop this dangerous football team?
It's a very dangerous football team. I think the biggest thing that we have to do in a game of this nature, you have to get started off, on the right foot. We can't make any mistakes early. In terms of Trinity individually, we have to contain their speed. They have 5 excellent, skilled people on offense, and they can do an awful lot of things. They have Craig DeCincy, quarterback. They have 4 other skilled people, 2 receivers and 2 running backs that have excellent speed. So we have to contain them defensively. We have to put pressure on. We have to try to keep Craig on his back so he can't throw those speedy receivers. The other thing, offensively, we have to just operate. When our guys take and are ready mentally and they're executing, we're a pretty good offensive football team. We've gotten off to a pretty good start. Up until last week, we were averaging 25 points a game. And so if we go out there and operate early, do a good job in the kicking game, that hurt us last week, I think we're going to do a real good job. One of the kids, each Thursday, we bring the kids together and we ask them, what do we have to do to win? And we let them tell us. And we hope that they'll tell us the things that we've talked about all week long. One of the young men said today, he said, Coach, we got to go out there and have a good time. And that's what it's all about. Our guys, these guys are high school football players, they're kids, and that's what we try to teach them. Go out there and have a good time, play your best, do the best you can, let the chips fall where they may. Last week I was proud as could be of these guys. I know tomorrow night I'm going to be very proud of them, and we're excited. We're ready to go.
And in a couple of minutes we're going to be talking with a guy named Jason Kendrick, the fine linebacker, who both these guys are going to have to contend with. Rico, you better stay loose out there. You got to keep your eye out for this guy, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
How's he looked on film to you?
Very impressive. Jason reads real well. He's got great speed, and he's a great linebacker.
Well, I just want to thank you, Mike, and thank Rico and everybody that's connected with St. X and Trinity, of course. They've really helped us out this week, and I really believe that when we started this show that we wanted to do something special, especially for this game, and this has been the highlight of the Paul Hornung Sports Showcase so far, being able to stay right here in the city and get everybody involved in such a wonderful game, because it's great sportsmanship that goes along with this game, and both schools are be commended. I tell you, they really helped us out this week. So congratulations, Mike, Rico.
Thank you.
Mark, and good luck tomorrow. And I'm going to, in fact, as I said, I'm staying over tomorrow so I can see this football game. I'm excited about it as everybody else. So let's say goodbye to Mike Glacier and wish him a lot of luck tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back with the Trinity Rocks and Dennis Lampley in just a minute.
Here's to the people who work so hard to keep our city going. And here's to all the things you do to keep our city growing. Here's to the people we're looking to make this city's dreams come true.
here for J.C. Bradford. You know, I've been investing with J.C. Bradford for over 20 years. Why? Well, first of all, I trust them. They know what they're doing here, and the bottom line is I've made money with J.C. Bradford. You don't have to have a large portfolio to get good service from Bradford's brokers. Here at Bradford, they treat everyone like a big investor. They really do care. So if you want to watch your money grow, call J.C. Bradford and let them go to work for you. I did.
Beautiful furniture from who? Smith's Furniture, that's who. It brings out the best in everyone.
When only the best is good enough, you'll always find the best at Roof Lighting. Diverse designs, superior styling, unsurpassed quality, and a professional staff to assist you. That's Roof. And opening soon, Roof's new lighting design center in Eastgate, just east of Middletown. An additional location to serve your total lighting needs. Roof Lighting, the complete lighting, design, and planning centers. Here for you because you deserve the very best.
Some insurance didn't even pay for your mom's allergy shots.
Or your cold last month. And because I didn't reach the deductible, it didn't pay for my stitches.
Humana has a range of plans to meet your needs, from affordable deductibles to no deductible at all.
Sue, what did my company insurance cover last year?
Nothing.
If you want coverage you can use, you want Humana.
And now it's time to welcome the Trinity Rocks, #1 rated in the state. Undefeated this year, a perfect record of 4-0, ranked #1. Dennis Lampley, the head coach of Trinity, along with his quarterback Craig DeCincy and Jason Kendrick. Welcome to Sports Showcase. You know, when I was doing a little homework today, Coach, not a bad record, 72-10. This is your 7th year as head coach of Trinity. That's a marvelous record. That's almost 90%. You're undefeated. And, you know, I really say 4 state titles in the 80s, Trinity has really come on. This has been a 10-year period where Trinity has enjoyed a lot of success.
You know, Paul, we've gone for the last 20 years, and I have to refer back to in the 70s. We had 4 state championships in the 70s. We've had 4 in the 80s. And the reason behind a lot of this is, you know, the coaches that we have and the players that we have. And I'm blessed with real good assistant coaches, and you know yourself, if you've got good assistant coaches, it makes the head coach look good. So that record, I can just kind of throw that record out. I ought to give that record to my assistant coaches. That's where the games are won and lost with those young men right there.
Well, it's been a phenomenal run as far as Trinity is concerned. And a couple of these young men sitting next to you is one of the reasons why Trinity, again, is #1. I guess before the year started, you were a little bit worried. You know, you lost a lot of great kids last year. And to be #1, I heard a few quotes. You didn't think that you were good enough to be #1 starting off.
Well, I think when you go into a new season, now, we started in this season, we graduated 41 seniors last year. Craig has never played on the turf yet, and so this is a new experience for him. Jason played last year, and he was still a young linebacker at that time. So, you know, it's a tough situation, and we just got to go out there and get ready to go.
Let's introduce these young men that Coach Dennis Lampley brought. One's a junior quarterback, Craig DeCincy, sitting right next to him, and also Jason Kendrick, 6'2½", he's got here 218 pounds, and he looks like he's well put together young. Let's welcome these young men, huh? Craig, he's mentioned that you'd never played on the turf before. Of course, he's talking about the turf out at the fairgrounds out here. Have you worked out there this week at all, yes. Craig?
Yes, sir.
How have you enjoyed it?
It's been exciting so far.
It's a little quicker than that natural grass, isn't it?
Oh, a lot quicker. I feel like you're moving like faster.
Are you 100%?
I don't think so right now. Mm-hmm. I've gotten a lot better since a couple weeks ago. but I think I progressed a lot better than I thought I would. Maybe 80, but not 100.
Yeah, I tell you what your coach said to me. He said 90% he can take us from here.
You
don't mind him being 90%, do you?
I'll take him anywhere. It'll make a difference. I'll take him wherever I get him.
Jason, you've been up to Joe Paterno's camp. I understand that he loves you. He's got you rated pretty high. Of course, as far as a linebacker is concerned, you think of Penn State. You almost think of the school for linebackers, don't you? Did you enjoy your? Jason went up there last summer, I guess, and worked out at the Penn State football camp, right? How did you enjoy that?
I enjoyed it a lot. It was a non-contact camp. I got a lot of good new skills from it.
Let me ask you something, Jason. What does this game mean to you?
It means all the world. You know, we've been playing for 4 years. There's a big tradition, a big rivalry, and it means a lot.
Craig, let me ask you something. How tough is Dennis about keeping up your grades?
Oh, that's one of the main reasons we come to Trinity. I mean, we have a grade check every week. I mean, if you got to be passing your courses or you can't come out and play, that's really important.
Y'all going to throw the football around a little bit tomorrow night?
I sure hope so.
Dennis?
We hope so.
What do you have to do now? Now tell me, offensively, you're going to be, I would guess, Trinity to be a favorite going into this football game, ranked #1 in the state. And St. X, of course, got nothing to lose. They're going to go out there very loose. As far as pressure is concerned, pressure is always on the teams on top.
Well, you know, Paul, I look back at Trinity over the last 20 years again, and the pressure is always there. The pressure will be at Trinity no matter what. The pressure will be at St. X no matter what, because everybody judges their program by how they play against Trinity and St. X. And it's always going to be there, and it's just the pressure doesn't bother us. I'm going to be honest with you. It does not bother us. Our young men play better under pressure, and I found that out over the last 2 years that it really makes a difference. But we get in these ball games like tomorrow night, it's going to be tough. It's a situation where we've got a lot of inexperienced players, and I don't really know how they're going to come out. Our rating was really based on last year's team, not on this year's. So this will be a good test for us, and we'll find out. But the season is not only set tomorrow night. You know, with Mike and myself both, we know we got a big season ahead of us. This is a pride game. This is the grandmother, the fathers, all the alumni, the whole family comes out for this one here. And I go back, and as Mike said a while ago, the young men are going to give everything they got. They're going to give you 110%. They might make a mistake, but you can believe it'll be a moving mistake. They'll be on the move, and they'll be doing the best job they can. And that's all we can ask out of them.
You know, when I did a little research about this, they were telling me that the 1983 game, and of course you were there, that 1983 game before 27,700 was probably the best football game that's ever been played in this city. And that's a lot of football games.
I was there as a bystander. I got out of coaching from 1980 to 1985, and I was out for 5 years, and I felt like I just lost everything. I'll be honest with you. And I think that's because of the closeness that coaches have with the young players. And we can develop them. We can do so many things. And I know a lot of the parents have trouble with their sons at times. We're able to go in and talk to them, and that makes a big difference. And our job out there is not only coaching football, but we're a father, we're a doctors, we're everything. And that's our job, is to make sure they get educated and they come out of there and they do a real good job, and that's what we hope happens.
Craig, how do you enjoy running the multiple offense of Trinity?
I enjoyed it a lot, because it makes the defense prepare a little more for us. They can't just look for one thing. They can't look for the passing game or the running game. I mean, if we're running the option real well one week, you never know. Next week we might throw the ball. I mean, because like last week it was raining. We threw the ball more times than we have ever in the whole season.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. My wife's Italian. I know she probably already fell in love with Craig. Let me ask you something, Jason. Linebackers are known to be reckless. I don't know if you saw the show a couple of weeks ago. I think we had a pretty good linebacker on the show by the name of Butkus. To me, he's the most violent person I've ever known in my life. How are you going to play tomorrow? Reckless? Most coaches I've ever known love to get their defense to play with reckless abandon. You hear that a lot. And this game, I think, commands that on both sides of the ball.
I'm going to try to play with complete intensity, but again, I have to play under control, and I can't key on anyone either.
What about the speed of a guy like Rico Francis? What are you going to have to do to contain him?
We're going to have to contain him. We're going to have to watch our corners. All he needs is a little seam, and he can get up the hole and break it. So we have to play our defenses like they're meant to be played, and we'll do it.
Dennis, your name's been mentioned in a lot of circles, especially since everybody thinks that Jerry Claiborne might step down in a couple of years, maybe a year or two. And I hear your name thrown around a little bit. You happy? I know you're happy where you are. That's kind of a silly question, but would you entertain a thought of moving up to the college ranks?
I think any high school player, coach would. And it's, I've been coaching for 25 years, and I think I've proved myself on the field as a football coach. And there's a lot of other things I'd like to try somewhere in life, and that would be one of them right there.
Well, I tell you one thing, we can't thank you enough for dropping by. This has been a great week for me. I watched both of these teams work out this week, and I'll tell you one thing, there's a lot of intensity out in that practice field, and I think that's great to see. Let me ask you, Jason, one more question before you go. You know, defensively, I think if a coach were honest, whether it's in high school, college, or the pros, if you say, what kind of a team would you like to have? I think Bear Bryant would say, give me a good defensive football team, and I just won't make too many mistakes on offense, and I'll beat you in the end. How important is it, Jason? When did you start to want to play defense?
Well, I started playing
defense. They got a great grade school program here in the city, of course, and but I've always, looking back, I can't remember when I wanted to play either offense or defense. And some football players today with the two platoons a little bit different. When did you realize that you really wanted to be a defensive football player?
I've been playing nose guard and linebacker ever since I was 8 years old, tackle football. And I've known my whole life. I feel it. I enjoy it. I like the hitting. I don't have any interest in running the ball.
I'll tell you one thing. I just want to tell all the young men here today that the 4 years that you're spending at St. X and Trinity right now are the most important years of your life. And it is the best years of your life. You'll look back on this experience, and I'll guarantee you, to a man, you'll say that high school was the most fun, the most dedication, the best. I met my best friends in life, and it's the best 4 years of your life. I just want to congratulate both St. X and Trinity on really being so nice to me this week and helping me get together. And Dennis, you've been a great help, and Mike Glazer, of course. And let's say goodbye to both Mike Glazer and Dennis Lampy and wish them a lot of luck tomorrow night.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Talk about Kansas. We'll be right back.
This is the shop of Samsat Bazaar, a thriving establishment on the outskirts of Bangkok. Unlike other international executives, he has no phone system, no computers, not even a fax machine. He does, however, enjoy one modern and efficient service nearly 4 billion people in 175 countries today can take for granted. UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
One name means more. Collins.
Excellent customer service is a tradition at every Collins dealership. Bill Collins Ford, Royal Dodge, King Chrysler, Good Buick, and Good Suzuki. Rated in the top 5% of hundreds of dealers nationwide, independent factory surveys clearly show that we have many satisfied customers. For quality customer service today and tomorrow, the name to remember is Collins.
One name means more. Collins.
More service with more care.
We could have been satisfied being the home of the chimichanga. After all, a chimichanga is the Chi-Chi's celebration, all wrapped up in a tortilla. But hearing you say wow wasn't enough, so we created the Cowabunga Chimichanga Special. It's our famous chimichanga, plus cheese, nachos, and sopapillas, all for $6.95. Wow, you say? No, Cowabunga.
For help with the design and purchase of a new air compressor, you need Air Systems. For service or repair of your present system, you need Air Systems. For parts and lubricants for your air compressors, you need Air Systems. If your compressed air system fails at any time of the day or night, you need Air Systems. I'm Jim Turner, owner and president of Air Systems. If you need a new air compressor, parts, repair service, or emergency rental, call me at Air Systems in Louisville.
If you don't want to slow down on your way home.
It's the right beer now.
If you think having fun means jumping in with both feet,
It's the right beer now.
you realize that in some sports, you can't call a timeout. So call for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Coors Light. Yeah, it's the right beer now.
I forgot to tell you, but for being on the Sports Showcase, both Mike and Dennis will receive these keychains, sterling silver keychains, donated by Singh Jewelers here in Louisville, and they also receive 2 free dinners at Chi-Chi's anywhere they want to go. So we want to thank them for being on. Now, I want to introduce you to a special segment that I'm really looking forward to. This is Rick Blackwell, the head coach of the volleyball team, the defending state champion volleyball team in Mercy Academy. And why don't you introduce your friend you got with you there, Rick?
This is Kelly Galuli. She's our senior setter and one of our captains on the team.
Folks, this Mercy Academy volleyball team is ranked 24th in the United States in volleyball. And tell us how long has Mercy been involved in the volleyball program? Because it's really come on the last few years, hasn't it?
Yes, we've had a team. We've been real competitive and for a long time now, and we won our first state championship in 1985, repeated in 86, and skipped a year in 87 and came back in 88 last year and won it.
Well, Rick gave me about a minute and a half on tape here that I think you're going to enjoy, and it's about Mercy Academy and their volleyball program. Watch.
Mercy Academy, we're like a family. Mercy Academy, we got what you need. Learning together, you build a family. Sharing and growing, together you'll be. So much to do, so much to see, so much to know, so many things to be. And we have more to offer you, like friends that you'll keep for your whole life through. Teachers and students all working together. They're helping each other, just like family. Growing in mind, in our bodies and spirits. We'll reach for the stars to be the best we can be. So much to do.
All right, let's hear it for the Mercy Academy state champions. Rick, let me ask your captain, Kelly. Kelly, dear, why have y'all been so successful?
I think it's because we play well together and we all get along really well. And if somebody on the team gets down because they're making a bad play, we all come together and try to bring them back up. And I just think that we get along really well. We have fun. We work hard.
Practice every day?
Yeah.
Rick, we've got a shot of the rest of the girls. They're over there now. Why don't you name off the names? I'm sure that they'll be smiling for the camera over there. Can we get a shot of that, Carl?
Okay, we have seniors Monica Beam and Amy Brickley, Leanne Burke, Gina Hustis, Christina Jansen, Tina Nair, Sarah Nordman, Christy Stuckenberg, and Nikki Wilkins.
Right?
The LIVT, yeah, right.
What do they call it?
LIVT.
LIVT, of course. Louisville Invitation Volleyball Tournament. I know enough about that. Rick, how long have you been out there with the girls?
This is my sixth year with Mercy. Yes.
You know, volleyball in California is so strong. It's so big. I mean, everybody on the beach have been playing volleyball out there for 25 or 30 years, but now the pro leagues, I mean, they've got a lucrative pro circuit out there. You think that'll ever come back east?
The pro leagues?
Yeah.
It's really improving as far as how many people like to watch the sport and how many people want to be involved in the sport. And I think we have most of our players play all year round. They play not just at Mercy, but on
How many more
also.
games is this till you get to the playoffs and state championship?
We have.
I think we have about 10 more until we play regionals, and then if we win the regional, we go to state.
Well, we want to wish you a lot of luck, and Rick, I want to thank you for bringing your girls back, because we've sure enjoyed meeting them. And good luck. If you win that state championship, come on back and say hello to us. How about that? Huh?
Sure.
Let's give them a little Kentucky welcome. Huh? We'll be right back with the UPS College Football Forecast in a minute.
One name means more. Collins.
When you buy a new Ford from Collins Ford, you're buying from a name you can trust. But did you know you can buy a new Dodge, Chrysler, Buick, or Suzuki with the same Collins commitment to quality? You can if you buy from Royal Dodge, King Chrysler, Good Buick, or Good Suzuki, all a part of the Collins family. More value for new car buyers in Kentuckiana for 20 years.
One name means more. Collins.
We make it easy.
Every night while you're sleeping, UPS is maintaining its status as the only company that delivers overnight to every address coast to coast. And we guarantee it with UPS Next Day Air. And because we're so efficient, we'll still do it for up to half what other companies charge, which is guaranteed to cause our competition some sleepless nights. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Give it up, give it up. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Liberty Street, Maury Bucart's fine restaurant down here at the Galleria. Yes, sir, it's been a high school week here. Now we're going to take a look at the UPS College Football Forecast. We always try to pick 4 or 5 games for you. And Notre Dame, I was up at Notre Dame last week. They had a very tough football game. They almost lost it. They didn't play well at all. In fact, Notre Dame hasn't played well since the first half of the Virginia game, and they're going against Purdue at Purdue, and Purdue always seems to have a little jinx on Notre Dame when they play them after Notre Dame won the national championship. Well, they won it last year, and if the jinx holds up, this could be Purdue's year, but I doubt very seriously if they can contend. I think Notre Dame offensively with Tony Rice will show a few things tomorrow, and I'm going to have to naturally pick Notre Dame over Purdue. Auburn plays at Tennessee. Kentucky's laying in wait for Auburn next week, and I think this is going to be a very, very tough football game for them. They're playing at Tennessee, but I think Auburn's just a little bit too strong for Tennessee. Even though Tennessee may be the surprise so far of the Southeastern Conference, I like Auburn over Tennessee. Ohio State over Boston College. Another pretty good football. Boston College always has some very, very big offensive, defensive linemen, but Ohio State, I understand that Jeff Ellis, the fine tight end, who's Jimmy Ellis' son, the former heavyweight champion. He, of course, is at Ohio State. He's a sophomore tight end, and he had knee surgery, and he'll probably be out for the year. But Ohio State's got enough talent to beat Boston College. And Miami over Michigan State. Now, Miami's favored against Michigan State. Watch out here. This could be the upset. This is a good football team. They lost their #1 running back, Blake Ezar, with the dislocated shoulder. I doubt very serious if he'll play. But this could be a surprise game. Michigan State is an underdog at home against Miami, and if they don't play up to capabilities, this could be the upset. And Louisville's going to beat Cincinnati. They're going to jump back this week, I'll tell you that. And as I said, Hard's going to have these kids ready to play this week. You know, they don't play too many home games. They're going to have to make the most of it from now. And Cincinnati does not have enough talent, I think, to stand up. And Louisville is definitely going to be on a roll after this week. And Alabama should have no trouble with Vanderbilt. Alabama, of course, victorious over Kentucky last week, and Vanderbilt just doesn't have enough scholarships, the type of scholarships, to really stand up under the pressure of an Alabama. I like Alabama over Vanderbilt. And that's a UPS College Football Forecast. We'll be right back with a very special NFL film piece I think you're going to like. Hold on here.
In places beyond the reach of other overnight delivery companies, you'll find UPS. Because unlike the competition, only UPS Next Day Air guarantees delivery overnight to every single address coast to coast. And because we're so efficient, we can do it for up to half what other companies charge, whether the place is hard to reach or easy to reach. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
It's the right beer now.
But not now.
It's the right beer now.
Definitely not now.
Coors Light, it's the right beer now.
And absolutely, positively not now. No way.
Hey, Dave, let me give you a ride home.
Do you know me? A few of you may not. That's why I carry this, the Lot of Gold card, the new instant game from the Kentucky Lottery. To apply for this card, just pay $2. The more numbers you match, the more you win. Up to $15,000 instantly. And a chance at $1 million. Now everybody knows me.
Aren't you John Travolta?
No.
Mickey Rooney?
No.
Andy Rooney?
No.
The Lot of Gold card. You can't win 15 grand without it.
You're Tom Selleck.
Right.
One name means more. Collins.
Get more value and dependability in a Collins used car. Whether the vehicle has Bill Collins, Royal Dodge, King Chrysler, Good Buick, or Good Suzuki on the back, it's the Collins reputation that's on the road. We sell only the cream of the crop. Make your selection from over 1,000 quality used cars and trucks. If you want more used car value, why settle for less?
One name means more. Collins.
We make it easy.
We got a good crowd of St. X Trinity fans right down here at Liberty Street. So we want to invite all you people out there watching on Store Cable Channel 11. If you can't make it, of course, tune in to Store Cable Channel 11. But if you can, come on down and join us. You don't have to have dinner. You can have dinner while you're here. It's great food. You can have a few beers if you like. You can have some Coca-Colas and Pepsi. Just come on down and join us. Doesn't cost anything to get in. We'd like to see you. Now, let me tell you about the special piece I have this week from NFL Films in Philadelphia. This is one of the best pieces, I think, that they've ever done. Everybody loves to watch the NFL Films specials, for instance, when they put on the bloopers. I'm going to have some bloopers for you a little bit later on in the shows, maybe a couple of weeks down the highway. But anyway, this piece of film that they sent me for this show this week is one of the best they've ever done. I want you to pay particular attention to the violence. Everybody loves it, let's face it. The violence in professional football. It does get a little tough. Watch this.
Die, baby, do or die. No tomorrow, baby, we want it now.
And they're like gladiators there. I mean, they're warriors. They're getting ready for battle.
And you've got to build a hatred up all week long, no matter what it may be. The guy may have freckles, and you hate people with freckles.
You go out there, and it's a battle. It's survival of the fittest. It's a challenge. You make a commitment. You're either better than the other guy, or he's better than you, every play.
I think it's a chemistry that happens that comes together and it's slammed together right before kickoff.
One of the tricks in coaching is to find that button, to find that formula, to find that code within the player.
Get up on the line! Don't you know how much time's on the clock?
Defense is kind of wild and frenzied.
Yeah!
Like nitroglycerin ready to go off.
You can take a guy that's the toughest guy on the football team. He's meaner than a snake. I mean, this guy is really tough. But if he can't ever get over there to hit anybody, he can't play. You know, you've got to see, you've got to move, you've got to hit. That's what football's all about.
That'll cool your ass off.
But the simple act of applying might and muscle can bring out as many conflicting approaches to hitting as there are hard-nosed men who've played the game.
Football is a violent game.
It's a vicious struggle to be number one. It's a vicious game.
It's an enjoyment. It's fun. There's a great deal of satisfaction. And you'd be hard-pressed to find a football player who really looks at football as barbaric.
You are playing the game of war. And it isn't with guns, but everything else is the same.
Well, they say football's a war, and they're in the trenches, and they're kicking the out of it. If you're really in a trench and really want to know what war's about, that's when you're wetting your pants, because that's that chap shooting at me, and he didn't know what a nice guy I was, you know? So this, you know, I think it's overplayed a little bit.
How about that? You know, when I look at films like that and realize that I played that game for 9 years, I really can't believe it, because it really never seems that rough and tough when you're out there playing it for some reason. I also played against Art Donovan in the latter part of his career, and of course, Art wrote a few books, and he's one of the all-time great characters, and you wouldn't think that big, he weighs about 350, he played with Johnny Unitas with the Colts, one of the quickest defensive nose tackles that ever played the game, and Artie Donovan owns a golf course in Baltimore and does pretty good with his life. Now, let's take a look at this week's Coors Light NFL Paul's Picks. Boy, I had a pretty good week last week, or I should clarify that a little bit. Nobody down here beat me that many. There was only 21 people who picked more winners than I did. Every week, we let everybody in the audience pick against Paul's Picks, and if you win, your name goes into a hat, and at the end of the year, you may win 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. But I will say this. I was 8-6 last week. That puts me for the 3 weeks, 4 games over 500. My wife picked 10-4 last week. She was the #1 picker, and I'll never hear the rest of that when I get home this week. But anyway, let's take a look at the Coors Light scoreboard for this week. First game we're going to take a look at is Miami, a lot better football team this year. And what's happened to Houston? Houston, of course, playing in the House of Pain, as they call it. The House of Pain has given up 111 points in 3 football games, an average of about 37 points a game. And I'm happy to take the 7 points. This Marino, of course, hasn't been sacked once in the last 14 games. So I'm going to take the 7 points. New England is at Buffalo, and Buffalo is a strong 7-point favorite. I don't know why I like Buffalo. New England, of course, is going with Doug Flutie this week at quarterback. They've had problems at quarterback. I didn't like them from the start. I like Buffalo and lay the 7. And Cincinnati goes to Kansas City. Now, the Bengals are one of the best home teams in professional football, but they're not the best road team in professional football. They're 5-point favorites over Kansas City. Now, when you look at that, you'd say, well, that's an easy. You got to take Cincinnati. I'm going to take Kansas City because the Bengals are 1-6 the last 7 games away from home. But get a load of this. Kansas City is 14-2 against the spread the last 5 years playing at home as a home team dog. So I'm going to stay with what they do best. I'm going to take Kansas City plus 5. Pittsburgh is at Detroit. Detroit 2.5-point favorites. And Mouse Davis, who runs that run-and-shoot offense, they put 27 points on the board against maybe the best defense in the league right now, the Chicago Bears. Of course, Detroit can't stop anybody either, but I think they'll stop Pittsburgh long enough to win. I like Detroit and lay the 2.5 points. Here's one of the best bets, I think, of the week. Washington over New Orleans. Washington is 1-point favorite, and I think the Redskins, they must win. And even though they've turned the football over 10 times in 3 football games, they stopped turning it over. This could be a very, very fine football team. Mark Rippon, their fine young quarterback, and he's still a young man. He's throwing the football with a lot of accuracy. Indianapolis at the New York Jets, and when Ken O'Brien is right with Wesley Walker and the rest of their receivers, they are an explosive football team. Indianapolis, of course, having trouble, got injury at quarterback. Dickerson may not play. He's banged up. I like the Jets and lay the 2.5. Denver is at Cleveland in a real big football game. Denver off to the best start, 3-0. They've also beat the number each week. They're 3-0 against the spread. But when Cleveland is at home, they play well. This game started off 4, went to 4.5. I like Cleveland at home and lay the 4.5 points over Denver. Denver, over the period of years, has not been a good road team, but they're a lot better football. This most improved football team in the National Football League, the Denver Broncos. And we'll be right back with the rest of the Coors Light Paul's Picks in just a minute.
to be seen in all the right circles.
It's the right beer now.
If you think there's a certain quality to beer that comes from up here,
Right beer now.
if you believe in letting the good times pour, reach for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Coors Light. Yeah, it's the right beer now. It's the right beer now.
We could have been satisfied being the home of the chimichanga. After all, a chimichanga is the Chi-Chi's celebration, all wrapped up in a tortilla. But hearing you say wow wasn't enough, so we created the Cowabunga Chimichanga Special. It's our famous chimichanga plus cheese, nachos, and sopapillas, all for $6.95. Wow, you say? No, Cowabunga.
A celebration of food.
Some insurance didn't even pay for your mom's allergy shots. Or your cold last month. And because I didn't reach the deductible, it didn't pay for my stitches.
Humana has a range of plans to meet your needs. From affordable deductibles to no deductible at all.
Sue, what did my company insurance cover last year?
Nothing.
If you want coverage you can use, you want Humana.
Welcome back to the Coors Light scoreboard here, and we'll take a look at the other 7 games on slate this Sunday and Monday night in the National Football League. Tampa Bay goes to Minnesota, and looks as if Vinny Testaverde could be the most improved quarterback in the league. I mean, he's not throwing for an exceptional amount of interceptions as he did last year. I think he threw for over 30 interceptions last year. Minnesota going back home. It's not the football team they were either. Minnesota is an 8-point favorite over Tampa Bay, but when they play up at the Dome in Minnesota, this is a must-win for Minnesota. They can't get too far behind the Bears. The Bears are off to a 3-0 start. I like Minnesota. It's a lot of points, but I think Minnesota's defense is really going to control this football game. I like the Vikings and lay the 8. Green Bay, 6-point favorites over Atlanta. Now, I would normally like Atlanta in these circumstances. This game is played in Milwaukee. And the Packers over the last 5 or 10 years have really been a poor football team. But anyway, Lindy Infante is one of the great young coaches in the National Football League. And these young kids at Green Bay are starting to learn how to play his system. And it's a good offensive system. But the last couple of weeks, the Packers have gotten so far behind that they've been very loose. And they start putting a lot of points on the board. Don Majkowski, the former University of Virginia quarterback, is a good talent. And I'll tell you one thing, I like Green Bay at home because Atlanta's quarterback is in trouble, Chris Miller, and I don't think he's going to be able to play. San Diego is at Phoenix. This is the first home game for Phoenix. They've been on the road the first couple of weeks, and they've kind of been a surprise as far as moving the football. They got probably the best receiver in pro football is probably getting into the end zone outside of Jerry Rice in Roy Green. He's just been sensational for many, many years, and he might get loose Sunday. He's awful tough to stop, especially at home. He usually has some of these kind of days where he scores 3 touchdowns. So Phoenix, I like Phoenix Sunday playing at home for the first time. Lay the 4. The best game of the week right here, the Rams and 49ers. And they're playing this game up at San Francisco. It opened up at 4. It went to 4.5. It's gone to 5 points. I think this will be a close football game. This also is the very first football game that the 49ers have played at home. Now, of course, we remember that great game that they beat the Eagles. And I'll tell you one thing, Montana, there's no question about it, he's the best quarterback in the National Football League and has been for the last 10 years because in the 80s, Bill Walsh and the 49ers were the team to beat. I like the Rams here plus the 5, although because I think it's going to be a very close football game. Jim Everett has really come into his own, the former Purdue All-American. They've got a running attack. They've got a defense. This is a great these two teams will be in the playoffs, but I just happen to think that the Lions plus 5, I just have to lean that way. It's a very tough football game. One of the best bets of the week, the Giants against Dallas at Dallas. Now, normally you don't like to lay 7 points to a home team dog, but Dallas is really in disarray. Their quarterback problem, nobody's moved the football. And poor Herschel Walker, he only gets about $2.5 million a year, and he gets to run the football about 7 or 8 times, and he's not too happy, and Dallas fans aren't too happy, and Tom Landry hadn't been too happy, and the whole Dallas fiasco isn't too happy. There's only about 35,000 people expected to go to this football game. So I like the New York Giants. I think they got their heads on straight. And Phil Simms, of course, is as consistent a quarterback as you'll find in the National Football League. So this is a good game. I like the Giants over Dallas, maybe by 20. Seattle plays the Raiders. The Raiders are 2-point favorites. I like Seattle here. I think the coaching is just a coaching edge. I just think that the young coach at the Raiders, Stanahan, I like Chuck Knox. Chuck Knox, one of the best coaches in the league, and I just happen to have to favor him. Philadelphia, Chicago. This is another one of the best games. This is a Monday night game, of course. The Bears, of course, are undefeated. Mike Ditka is the boss. He tells the team he's the boss. He tells the press he's the boss. He tells the owners of the Bears he's the boss. So he is the boss in Chicago, and he's done very well since he arrived. He was an assistant coach for Tom Landry for about 7 or 8 years. He learned a lot of football under one of the best coaches that's ever played. The Bears in Philadelphia. I like the Bears at home and lay the 3.5. And we'll be right back after this word from Coors Light.
Paul Hornung here for J.C. Bradford. You know, I've been investing with J.C. Bradford for over 20 years. Why? Well, first of all, I trust them. They know what they're doing here, and the bottom line is I've made money with J.C. Bradford. You don't have to have a large portfolio to get good service from Bradford's brokers. Here at Bradford, they treat everyone like a big investor. They really do care. So if you want to watch your money grow, call J.C. Bradford and let them go to work for you. I did.
Gentlemen, call your mothers.
This is a demonstration of 2 calls at 9 p.m. from L.A. to San Francisco.
Hello, Mom?
With MCI's new Prime Time, this 25-minute call costs 37% less than with AT&T.
Meatloaf, my favorite.
And Prime Time lets you save no matter how far you call or how long you talk.
Sure, okay. Look, gotta go. Bye-bye.
So the choice that's right is the choice on the right. MCI's new Prime Time. Real savings 24 hours a day. Call now, get 1 month free.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to Liberty Street. I just want to again thank Mike Glazer and Dennis Lampley. Wish them a lot of luck tomorrow night in the game of the year, St. X and Trinity, and give you a little preview of what we got coming up. Next week, we're going to take a look and find out how it's like to play college football. Hopefully, we'll have some U of L football players here, Ted Washington, Caldwell Gardner, and a few others, Browning Nagel. We'll find out what's happening with that turf toe situation of his. We'll talk a little about the U of L Cincinnati game. And then a week later, I've got Chris Collingsworth, the end from the Cincinnati Bengals, who was released this year. He's also doing some radio and television in the Cincinnati area. And hopefully he's going to bring down Reggie Williams, the fine linebacker for the Bengals. After that, I got Joe Dean when LSU comes up here to play Kentucky. And he don't know it yet, but I'm going to have Terry Miners here doing a little imitation for Joe Dean when he gets here. After that, hopefully October 26th, it's not definite yet. We're going to have Bobby Knight on October 26th, or Hank Stram. I got Hank Stram standing by. Hank will be here during one of the shows, and then Gail Sayers followed it out. So we got a good lineup for you. Just remember, it's right here on Storer Cable, Channel 11. We hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
The Paul Hornung Sports Showcase has been brought to you by UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business. By the Collins Auto Group, where one name means more. More selection, more value, more service. By Humana, high-quality healthcare services at affordable prices. By Coors Light, there's no slowing down the silver bullet. By your local Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurant, where every day is a celebration of food.